Black Adam is an action, adventure and fantasy sci-fi set 5,000 years ago after Teth Adam was bestowed with the almighty powers of the Egyptian gods and imprisoned just as quickly. Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on the modern world. Black Adam was directed by Drama Colette Serra, starring Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam, Aldis Hodge as Hawkman, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, and Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe and turn on your bell notifications. I know that I did promise to you guys that I would get this review out to you guys by the weekend, but that hasn't happened. It's gone a few days past the weekend into the week, but you know what? Probably gives more people enough time to see it and allow more of a conversation to have with Black Adam. Fingers crossed, more people have seen it. So, in the famous words of Dwayne Johnson, as he's been saying with the marketing campaign of this film, the hierarchy of the DCU is about to change forever. And I'm going to answer that question near the end of this video once we have gone through thoroughly the pros and cons with Black Adam. And then near the end of the video, we will get into spoilers. But let me start this review by saying this. I'm going to start somewhere in this review talking about a couple of characters and actors that I felt like they really did add their presence on the screen. And I have to give special mention to Muhammad Ammar and Sarah Shahir as the siblings in the film. I think that they added a lot of levity, a lot of the human side, the human element, and a lot of the perspective that if there was super beings thrown down in their city, what would the audience perception be? And we see that through their characters. I think they added a lot of grounded nature in the essence of the kind of underlying social commentary that's happening in the film with oppression, and also just their love for one another as a family. And Muhammad in this film, man, he got a couple of belly laughs out of me. I think whenever he was on screen, he timed his comedy to perfection, especially when we get to the tomb of Black Adam. And his moment in that was quite well done, I must say. Let's talk about the man that's been trying to spearhead this project for the last 15 years, and that is Dwayne Johnson. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a person push a film as much as what he did. And, I think there was a lot of non-believers in Dwayne Johnson. And I think a lot of people, feel like, quote unquote, the Rockisms. A lot of his performances can come across as cut and dry, and it can feel like as if sometimes when you watch The Rock that he isn't really playing a character in most of his films. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of films that I have enjoyed with Dwayne Johnson's performances and his interpretations. But when I say this, it's probably maybe of recent. I mean, I don't know. I found that Red Notice was a little bit far-fetched for me. But in this, he really was a breath of fresh air. And, I could see that with his performance. It felt like he drew a lot of inspiration from Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Terminator. The first couple of instances and scenes that you see him in, you can see he's drawing from that energy, and I found that really interesting. And I just think that he came across completely different from the last couple of films that I've seen him in, and you can really see that this project did mean a lot to him. And I can only give him credit, and it was nice to see him have a lot of fun with this role. Black Adam, Teth Adam, is not exactly a daisy car. He doesn't sing kumbaya with people, and wants to get to a common ground with the opposition, with villains and things like that. It's just, no, I will not. If you're tyrannical towards me, or if it's a way of thinking that is not in his blinkers, in his headlights, then to him you must die. And the thing is, that's kind of what Black Adam is. If you go back to the comics, I've seen a lot of people argue, why is he like this? Oh, this is The Rock's influence too much. No, look, it's only of recent in the comics that Black Adam has really become an anti-hero. Before, he was even worse. He'd just kill anyone, right? So I think they found a nice medium with this interpretation of Black Adam, and Dwayne done his thing. And I've got to say, I think Black Adam for me is one of the most funniest live action superhero genre films since possibly 2008's Deadpool. And I find that the humor in this film, the reason why it worked for me, I always like humor that's out of left field, or satirically funny, or comedy that comes in the sense of its camaraderie amongst people, kind of a little bit of a watered down version of what we call banter or sarcasm, which is quite evident in this film. And I find that when comedy is like that, when it's not for face value and things just randomly happen, I find that more funny.
He was a squirrel who had big nuts.
And I felt like it paid dividends in this film. I found myself in certain moments just unexpectedly just laughing at things, because I think the film understands what it is, and it pulls no punches, and it's just willing to have a really fun time with the audience. Let's talk about the Justice Society of America. And I think everyone that was casted in these roles, I can't really imagine anyone else depicting them. And I found that quite interesting. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, he is a complete brilliant new breath of fresh air in the DCU. The level of class and the panache that he puts into Dr. Fate was really admirable, and I just feel like the DC universe has been calling out for someone like that, to have that level of suave in him. And without giving too much away, I really do hope that they bring him back, because I've been seeing a lot of fans calling for him. They bring him back and build some films around him, because I really do think that Dr. Fate could be a great centerpiece in the DCU. And Aldous Hodge as Hawkman, he was great. And I feel like Hawkman, Dr. Fate, they've kind of got like this father and son relationship with each other, which was endearing to see. Even if we only saw those characters for maybe a duration of 15 minutes on screen, it felt like as if Dr. Fate and Hawkman have actually been in the DCEU for at least a decade, so Warner Brothers, please bring those characters back and bring those actors back to reprise those roles. Cyclone and Atom Smasher were good. They had a really cool dynamic as well. Again, they were probably only in screen for about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes. And again, it feels like they've been around for a decade. And, I was really caught by that. Whoa. Quindissa Swindell or Cyclone, she done well. Noah Centineo, done great, and you know, a couple of good comedic moments with App Smasher as well. And I look forward to, fingers crossed, that they also come back as well. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is it's been a little bit of a mind f for me because I've got to admit, this is some of the best visual effects that I think I've seen for in a superhero film with a character flying, with Black Adam. It literally felt like I was watching a. If this was to happen in real life, what would a superhuman being look like if he was flying in the air? And I think that the visual effects on that was so pristine and just so well done. I think honestly, some of the best flying mechanics I've probably seen since Batman v Superman or even Man of Steel. You know, I got to applaud the visual effects team. Now, applaud them on that avenue. Then I go into what I saw with Cyclone's character. I don't get what this is why it's a mind different, because then when I look at Cyclone, I don't know what it is, but the CGI around her, I felt like it was too busy. For me, when they done that, it was a little bit too much. You know, all of the greenery. Like I feel like I might be missing out on something, and you guys can correct me in the comment section if you want, but I don't get why I'm seeing all this greenery and like, if she's a Cyclone, I mean, in my head anyway, I think that she has power abilities to control the weather, you know, hurricanes, tornadoes, and all these things. So I don't really understand why there's green splashed everywhere around her. I don't know. It doesn't really compute in my head, you know. And you guys let me know in the comment section. Did you like that? Because I don't know. I think if there was anything to do with the visual effects, I mean, that for me was the thing that they could have maybe altered or changed, possibly even significantly. So amazing for Black Adam, and then I got no clue what they were going for with Cyclone. Now, and to add, I should have mentioned this maybe possibly at the beginning of the video when I was talking about Dwayne Johnson, but doing a 180 here. When that first sequence commenced, when we first saw Black Adam in the modern day, when he's awakened at the tomb, I was smiling from ear to ear with that whole sequence. And, you know, it was brilliant because it wasn't shaky cam. It had some good one shots in it where you could actually fully see the power setting of Black Adam, and that he really is a force to be reckoned with, especially if he grabs you and starts using his fucking, you know, lightning abilities on you. You're cooked. You're fried, mate. And that was good. And they caught a couple of moments with just to show how brutal he is. And also from the tomb, when he comes out the tomb, then he has that whole sequence in slow-mo. That was a touch of class. I really enjoyed that scene. And look, if it was anything where I felt like the director earned his pay grade, was in that first 10 minutes here, where the director was like, all right, let me show you something cool. Let me show you what I can do. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate that. And I want more sequences like that with Black Adam in future sequels and that, because that was badass. We had the cinematography from Lawrence Sher, who was the cinematographer for Joker, and I believe he done cinematography for War Dogs, The Hangover. He's partnered with Todd Phillips on many occasions, and there was scenery in this film that it just felt like you could just reach out and touch it, especially watch it in IMAX. I gotta say, it was, I mean, apart from maybe Cyclone looking a bit shoddy, for me, it was one of the most beautiful looking films, blockbuster films I've seen all year. And the amount of attention to detail that went into Kahndaq, I mean, it felt real, it felt lived in. I was like, yo, this is, you know, it felt like a considerable amount of time went into that world building, you know. And I think a certain type of neighbor could learn from taking their time on their visual effects and their CG. Marvel, but you know, again, another thing I've got to applaud. Final kind of thoughts on Black Adam to wrap it up. Was Black Adam was the hierarchy of the DC going to change with Black Adam? No, but we are getting very damn close. We're getting closer with every project, and we are on the right track. You know, look, and also to now I'm going to go into some spoilers now. So if I'm gathering most of you have probably seen the film, but if you've not, no, watch the film, come back, and then we can discuss more. So spoiler warning from here on in. Yeah, like Black Adam is not by any means a complete perfect film. It has its flaws. But what I love so much with this film is that it felt like a lot of passion and love went into it, you know. And I think if you can watch a film and you can leave somebody happier than when they entered that screening, I think that's a really special thing. I think that's a really powerful thing. You know, and there was moments where our audience were really connecting with the film, you know. So I'm really all for this film and what they tried to do. And you know, I don't think they ever had the intention of making Black Adam this Christopher Nolan-esque grandiose kind of thing. You know, I mean, it is grandiose in the sense of its action, but in its story, you know, it is kind of lackluster. But you know, there's plot holes, especially when you get to the third act. The whole thing with Sabbac. I mean, Sabbac as a villain is, you know, I don't even know what to really say about him. I think this whole thing of, you know, it's in my family's lineage to take its place on the crown and then blow up the whole city that I live in for what? You know, I think there was something that I said to my friends, and I said, you know, because like I said, there's this whole thing of the oppression element in this film, and you know, it goes through the kind of, I don't know how to say, the I don't know what the word is for it, but the quote unquote infringement from other countries taking your resources and X, Y, and Z. But if that is your social commentary, wouldn't it be maybe clever to maybe think of it in the sense of, you know, if there was something where Sabbac, I mean, he's not even called Sabbac, he's the dude from Aladdin, but that character who turns into Sabbac, if he knows and he understands that in this amount of time, in maybe a century's time, Kahndaq will still be in the same position that it is in, where it won't be economically flourishing or XYZ, right? Then he understands, well, we're never going to be a power anyway. And then he decides, I'm just going to turn this whole city on its head, and I'm going to do what I want and, you know, empower myself, because this city isn't going to go anywhere anyway. That could have been an interesting perspective that they could have played around with, but they just kind of do this whole thing of, oh, it's in my family's birthright to uptake the crown, and it's like this, you know, a 5-year-old in a nursery home can come up with that, you know. And another thing that the trailers didn't show is that we get a lot of exposition dumps from a boy in the film, who's one of the main characters' mum that we go, and he's also like kind of the spearhead, the perspective of the audience as well. And I felt like the only reason why that boy was in that film was because, in a way, they done it because it was a clever move from Warner Brothers, in the sense of they knew and they understood that most people that were going to go and watch Black Adam were going to go watch Black Adam because of Dwayne Johnson, right? Now, do they know Black Adam for Black Adam? I don't really think so. And I think that having the boy narrate and give his exposition in certain scenes was... Sorry, that's a fucking dumb fly that I should have assassinated. But having the boy, he's kind of, you know, the eyes and the ears of a younger audience, you know, so that a younger audience can maybe feel like they're in the film with these characters, you know. So I think it was done to bring a younger demographic of audience to watch Black Adam as well, and that's why I think he was there. And I think a lot of people say it doesn't work. In a way, it does work. I think it will be one of those things that, with that character specifically, that will grow with me with time. Like, especially when I walked out of the film, I was like, well, why did they have the kid there? But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, makes sense. So yeah, guys, not a perfect film. Has flaws, but it is a great popcorn flick. If you're a fan of the DCEU, I highly recommend you go and you watch it. Now, I don't know, if you're someone that's looking for an entertainment fix, maybe you're not a regular go at the cinema, or you're not, you know, it could be hit or it could be miss for you, you know. It could be that film where it's the complete shot in the dark. And I think it also depends on, are you somebody that likes satirical kind of humor that is dark? Do you like that? And if you do, I think you will appreciate the film for what it is. Now, major spoiler that we're going to talk about now. We got that perfect mid-credit scenes with the return of Henry Cavill as Superman. I couldn't have been more happy to see that guy on that screen. It has been way too long, too damn long, for that guy to return back as Superman. You know, and the reason why we've had to wait so long is because of the old establishment of Warner Brothers, the Walter Hamada, the Ann Sarnoff, Toby Emmerich, the complete circus act with those 3 producers not pushing Snyder's work in the correct avenue, you know, was just such a shame. For whatever reason, I just cannot understand. So he is back. He confirmed on social media he's back as Superman, which is brilliant. And Warner Brothers, at this very moment in time, are looking for directors and writers to create the sequel, I believe, with Henry Cavill, the sequel to Man of Steel. Now, if it's any person that should be the first person on that list, it should be Christopher McQuarrie. Christopher McQuarrie, the director of the most recent Mission Impossible films. He is your man. Get him immediately. And, you know, he's just going to be finishing off you know, the 2 back-to-back Mission Impossible films that he's been doing now. Snap him up, get him. You know, because I believe that there was a story that floated around that Chris McQuarrie had a story for a Man of Steel 2. He's your guy. Get him. So guys, I really do hope that you've enjoyed this review. It's been a long one. I don't know, I'm going to have to chop this up and edit it down, I guess. It's going to be at least just over 20 minutes or so, or maybe more. I don't know, we'll see. But if you've watched up until this point, thank you. Leave a like, leave a comment. My next review will be Smile. I can't believe how I haven't done that sooner rather than later, but I'll be diving into that as well for you guys for this Halloween period. And thank you for watching. Leave a comment, leave a like, check the description for more videos. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next video.